Hello everyone, good evening, and thank you very much joining me and everyone on Zoom and in person, teaching here on Thursdays. We're currently reading through the Vishuddhimagga, which is one of the very key textbooks of Theravada Buddhist tradition, which is the senior most Buddhist tradition, really still is. So before we start, as usual, we will do the refuge and four measures by way of to tune up our mind and reiterate our faith and devotion in the true teachings of the Buddha. So with this in mind, please join your hands at the heart and include everyone in your heart and prayers. May the small merit that will come from this will have a very positive ripple effect to those who lend their ears and attention by watching this on YouTube or listening. Actually may come to their senses about the trueness of how teachings of Buddha can empower us to awaken. So hence we affirm our faith and devotion in the teachings. Oyenda Buddha Dhamma Sangha Aitere Videla Dhamma Bhavachu Ajendala Ajare Buddha Udruve Enda Buddha Dhamma Sangha Aitere Videla Dhamma Bhavachu Ajendala Ajare Buddha Udruve Enda Buddha Dhamma Sangha Aitere Videla Dhamma Bhavachu Ajendala Ajare Buddha Udruve. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and cause of suffering. May they know a power from happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment of those near and far. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and cause of suffering. May they know a power from happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment of those near and far. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and a cause of suffering. May they know a power from happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment of those near and far. Now we meditate a little bit on emptiness by reciting the Heart Sutra mantra, because we usually think things are real, this feeling is real, this situation is bad. We become so stagnant and thinking this is bad, but we don't realize they're all emptiness, they're all impermanent. And we should let go. That's why the gone, all these prayers is very important to meditate and let go. Tadyadam gaden gade barang gade barazang gaden buddhazo, dadadang 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 gaden gade barang gade barazang gaden buddhazo. Dadanga de baranga de barazanga de bodozo, 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 dadanga de baranga de barazanga de bodozo. Dadanga de baranga de barazanga de bodozo, dadanga de baranga de barazanga de bodozo, dadanga de baranga de barazanga de bodozo, dadanga de barazanga de bodozo, dadanga de baranga de barazanga de bodozo, dadanga de baranga Parazanga de Bodhisattva, de Zanga Denga de Baranga, Parazanga de Bodhisattva. So we are continuing this reading of the Vishuddhimagga. This one is on concentration or meditation. Firstly, it's really talking about the importance of asceticism and the meditation subject. And here it's mainly talking about the temperament of the meditators, how things affect. So this is the paragraph number 95. By the kind of states occurring. In one of the greedy temperament, there is frequent occurrence of such states as deceit, fraud, pride, evilness of wishes, greatness of wishes, discontent, foppery, and personal vanity. In one of the hating temperament, there is frequent occurrence of such state as anger, enmity, disparaging, domineering, envy, and avarice. In one of the deluded temperament, there is a frequent occurrence of such states as stiffness, thoughtful agitation, worry, uncertainty, and holding on tenaciously with refusal to relinquish. In one of the faithful temperament, there is frequent occurrence of such states as free generosity, desire to see noble ones, desire to heed the good Dhamma, great gladness, ingenuousness, honesty, and trust in things that inspire trust. In one of intelligent temperament, there is a frequent occurrence of such states as readiness to be spoken to, possession of good friends, knowledge of the right amount of eating, mindfulness and full awareness, devotion to wakefulness, a sense of urgency about things that should inspire a sense of urgency, and wisely directed endeavor. In one of the speculative temperament, there is frequent occurrence of such states as talkativeness, sense of sociability, boredom, and devotion to the profitable, failure to finish undertaking, smoking by night and flaming by day. That is to say, hatching plans at night and putting them into effect by day, the mental running hither and thither. This is how the temperament may be recognized by the kind of states occurring. You can see this is quite a behavior, way of telling the people's temperament, saying what's really happening, what kind of emotions are directed, kind of, suppressing the mind to behave this way. However, these directions for recognizing the temperament have not been handed down in their entirety in either the text or the commentaries. They are only expressed according to the opinion of the teachers and cannot therefore be treated as authentic. For even those of hating temperament can exhibit posture, etc., ascribed to the greedy temperament when they try diligently. As posture, etc., never arise with a distinct characteristic in a person of mixed temperament, only such directions for recognizing temperament as are given in the commentary should be treated as authentic. For this is said, a teacher who has acquired penetration of minds will know the temperament, will explain a meditation subject accordingly. One who has not should question the pupil. So it is by penetration minds or by questioning the person that it can be known whether he is of greedy temperament or one of those beginning with a hating temperament. What suits one of what kind of temperament? A suitable lodging for one of greedy temperament has an unwashed still and stands level with the ground, and it can be either an overhanging rock with an unprepared drip ledge, a grass hut, or a leaf house, etc., ought to be spattered with dirt, full of bats, and dilapidated, too high or too low, in bleak surroundings, threatened by lions and tigers, with a muddy, uneven path wherever the bed or chairs are full of bugs. And it should be ugly and unsightly, exciting loathing as soon as they're looked at. Suitable inner and outer garments are those that have torn off edges with threads hanging down all around like a net cake. Harsh to the mouth, harsh to touch with like hemp, soil, heavy and hard to wear, and the right kind of ball for him is an ugly clay ball, disfigured by stoppings and joints, or a heavy and misshapen iron ball as unappetizing as a skull. The right kind of road for him on which to wander for alms is disagreeable, with no village near, and uneven. The right kind of village for him in which he to wander for alms is where people wander about as if oblivious of him, where he is about to leave without getting alms, even from a single family. People call him into the sitting hall, saying, "Come, venerable sir," to give him gruel and rice, but do so as casually as if they were putting a cow in a pen. Suitable people to serve him are slaves and workmen who are unsightly, ill-favored, with dirty clothes, ill-smelling and disgusting, who serve him his gruel and rice as if they were throwing it rudely at him. The right kind of gruel and rice and hard food is poor, unsightly, made up of millet and kudusaka, broken rice, etc., stale buttermilk, sour gruel, curry of cold vegetables, or anything at all that is merely for falling the stomach. The right kind of posture for him is either standing or walking. The object of his contemplation should be any of the color kasinas, beginning with blue, whose color is not pure. That is what suits one of the greedy temperament. A suitable resting place for one of hating temperament is not high or too low, provided with shade and water, with well-proportioned walls, posts and steps, with well-prepared frieze works and lattice work, brightened with various kinds of painting, with an even, smooth, soft floor, adorned with festoons of flowers, and a canopy of many-colored cloth, like a Brahmin's god's divan palace, with bed and chair covered with well-spread, clean, pretty covers, smelling sweety of flowers, and perfumes and scents set about a homely comfort, which make one happy and glad as the mere sight of it. The right kind of road for his lodging is free from any sort of danger, traverses clean, even ground, and has been properly prepared. And here it is best that the lodgings furnishings are not too many in order to avoid hiding places for insects, bugs, snakes, and rats, or even a single bed and a chair only. The right kind of inner and outer garments for him are of any superior stuff, such as china cloth, somara cloth, silk, fine cotton, fine linen of either single or double thickness, quite light and well dyed, quite pure in color to befit the ascetic. The right kind of ball is made of iron, and as well as shaped as a water bubble, as polished as a gem, spotless, and of quiet, pure color to befit the ascetic. The right kind of road on which to wander for alms is free from dangers, level, agreeable, with the village neither too far nor too near. The right kind of village in which to wander for alms is where people thinking, "Now our Lord is coming," prepare a seat in a sprinkled, swept place, and going out to meet him, take his bowls, lead him to the house, seat him on a prepared seat, and serve him carefully with their own hands. Suitable people to serve him are handsome, pleasing, well-bathed, well-anointed, sainted, with the perfume of incense and smell of flowers, adorned with apparel made out of various dyed, clean, pretty clothes, who do their work carefully. the right kind of gruel. Rice and hard food has color, smell, and taste, possesses nutritive essence, and is inviting, superior in every way, and enough for his wants. The right kind of posture for him is lying down and sitting. Then the right kind of posture for him is lying down and sitting. The object of his contemplation should be any one of colors kasinas, beginning with blue, whose color is quite pure. This is what suits one of hating temperament. The right lodging for one of deluded temperament has a view and is not shut in, where the four quarters are visible to him as he sits there. As to the postures, walking is right. The right kind of object for his contemplation is not small, that is to say, the size of winnowing basket, or the size of the size of a saucer. For his mind becomes more confused in a confined space. So the right kind is an empty, large kasina. The rest is stated for one of hating temperament. This is what suits one of deluded temperament. For one of faithful temperament, all the directions given for one of hating temperament are suitable. As for the objects of his contemplation, one of the recollections is right as well. For one of intelligent temperament, there is nothing unsuitable as far as concerned the lodging and so on. For one of a speculative temperament, the open lodging with a view, where gardens, groves, ponds, pleasant prospects, panoramas of villages, towns, and countryside, and blue gleam of mountains are visible to him as he sits there, is not right, for that is a condition for the running hither and thither of applied thought. So he should live in a lodging such as a deep cavern, screened by woods like an overhanging rock of Elephant's Belly or Mahinda's Cave. Also, an ample-sized object of contemplation is not suitable for him, for one like that is conditioned for the running hither and thither of applied thought. A small one is right. The rest is stated for one of greedy temperament. This is what suits one of speculative temperament. These are the details with the definition of the kind, source, recognition, and what is suitable as regard to various temperament handed down here with the words that suits his own temperament. However, the meditation subject that is suitable to the temperament has not been cleared up in all its aspects yet. This will become clear automatically when those in the following list are treated in detail. Now, it was said above, and he should apprehend from among the 40 meditation subjects the one that suits his own temperament. Here, the exposition of the meditation subject should be first understood in these 10 ways. 1, as to enumeration. 2, as to which bring only access and which absorption. 3, as to kinds of jhana. 4, as to surmounting. 5, as to extension and non-extension. 6, as to objects. 7, as to plane. 8, as to apprehending. 9, as to condition. 10, as to suitability to temperament. Here, as to enumeration, it was said above from among the 40 meditation subjects. Here the 40 meditation subjects are these: the 10 kasinas, totalities, 10 kinds of foulness, 10 recollections, 4 divine abidings, 4 immaterial states, 1 perception, and 1 defining. Here the 10 katinas are these: earth katina, water kasina, fire kasina, air kasina, blue kasina, yellow kasina, red kasina, white kasina, light kasina, and limited space kasina. The 10 kinds of foulness are these: the bloated, the livid, the festering, the cut up, the gnawed, the scattered, the hacked and scattered, the bleeding, the worm infested, and a skeleton. The 10 kinds of recollection are these: recollection of the Buddha, the enlightened one. 2, the recollection of Dharma, the law. 3, the recollection of the Sangha, the community. 4, recollection of virtue. 5, recollection of generosity. 6, recollection of deities. 7, recollection of mindfulness of death. 8, mindfulness of occupied with the body. 9, mindfulness of breathing. 10, recollection of peace. That takes the 30 kachinas. The 4 divine abidings are these: loving kindness, compassion, gladness, and equanimity, what we call usually 4 immeasurables. 4 immaterial states are these: the base consisting the boundless space, the base consisting boundless consciousness, base consisting of nothingness, base consisting of neither perception nor non-perception. These are usually the states of what we call immaterial, means formless states. One of perception, the one perception is perception of repulsiveness in nutriment. One defining is the defining of the 4 elements. This is how the exposition should be understood as to enumeration. Enumerating 40 subjects of meditation. 2 is the 2 as to which bring access only and which absorption. The 8 recollection, accepting mindfulness occupied with the body and mindfulness breathing, the perception of repulsiveness in nutriment, and the defining of the color, defining of the 4 elements are 10 meditation subjects that bring access only. The others bring absorption. This is as to which bring access only and which absorption. 3. As to kind of jhana, among those that bring absorption, the 10 kachinas, together with mindful breathing, bring all the 4 jhanas. The 10 kinds of foulness, together with mindfulness occupied with the body, bring the first jhana. The first 3 divine abidings bring the 3 jhanas. The 4 the divine abiding and the 4 material states bring 4th jhana. This is as to which kind of jhana. 4. As to surmounting. There are 2 kinds of surmounting, that is to say, surmounting of factors and surmounting of objects. Herein, there is surmounting of factors in the case of all meditation subjects that bring 3 or 4 jhanas, because the second jhana, etc., have to be reached in those same objects by surmounting the jhanas factors of applied thought and sustained thought, and so on. Likewise, in the case of 4th divine abiding, that too has to be reached by surmounting joy in the same object as that of loving kindness, and so on. But in the case of 4 immaterial states, there is surmounting of object for the base consisting of boundless space as to be reached by surmounting one or the other of the first 9 kachinas, and the base consisting of boundless consciousness, etc., have respectively to be reached by surmounting space, and so on. With the rest, there is no surmounting. This is as to surmounting. 5. As to extension and non-extension, only the 10 kachinas among the 40 meditation subjects need to be extended, for it is within just as much space as one is intent upon with the kachina that one can hear sounds with the divine ear element, see visible object with the divine eye, and know minds of other beings with the mind. Mindfulness applied, occupied with the body and the 10 kinds of foulness need not be extended. Why? Because they have a definite location, and because there is no benefit of it. The definiteness of their location will become clear in explaining the method of development. If the latter are extended, it is only a quality of corpses that is extended, and there is no benefit. And this is said in answer to the question of Sopaka. Perception of visible forms is quite clear, blessed one. Perception is bone, is not clear. For here, the perception of visible forms is called quite clear. in the sense of extension of the sign, while the perception of bone is called not quite clear in the sense of its non-extension. But the words, I was intent upon this whole earth with the perception of skeleton, are said of manner of appearance to one who has acquired that perception. For just as in the Emperor Dhammashoka's time, the Karavika bird uttered sweet songs when it saw its own reflection in the looking glass wall all around and perceived Karavikas in every direction. So the elder Singala Peter thought, when he saw the sign appearing in all directions through his acquisition of the perception skeleton, that the whole earth was covered with bones. 112. If that is so, then is what is called the measurelessness of object of jhana produced on foulness contradicted. It is not contradicted, for one man apprehends the sign in a large bloated corpse of skeleton, another in a small one. In this way of jhana of the one has a limited object and that of the other measureless object. Or alternatively, with a measureless object is said of its referencing to one who extended, seeing no disadvantage in doing so, but in need not to be extended because no benefit results. The rest need not to be extended likewise. Why? When a man extends a sign of his in-breath or out-breath, only a quantity of wind is extended, and it has a definite location, the nose tip. So it need to be extended because of the disadvantage and because of the definiteness of the location. And the divine abiding have living beings as the object. When a man extends the sign of this, only a quantity of living beings would be extended, and there is no purpose in that. So that is also need not to be extended. 114. When it is said, the intent upon one quarter, with his heart endued with loving kindness, etc., that is said for the sake of comprehensive inclusion. For it is when a man develops it progressively by including living beings in one direction, by one house, by two houses, etc., that he is said to be intent upon one direction, not when he extends sign. And there is no counterpart sign here that he might extend. Also, the state of having limited or measureless object can be understood here according to the way of inclusion too. 115. As regards the immaterial states as objects, space need not be extended since it is the mere removal of the kachina, materiality, for that should be brought to mind only in the disappearance of the kachina, materiality. If he extends it, nothing further happens. And consciousness need not to be extended, since it is state consisting in an individual essence, and it is not possible to extend a state consisting in an individual essence. The disappearance of consciousness need not be extended, since it is mere non-existence of consciousness, and the base consisting of neither perception nor non-perception as object need not to be extended, since it too is state consisting in an individual essence. The rest need not to be extended because they have no sign. For it is the counterpart sign that would be extendable, and the object of the recollection of the Buddha, etc., is not a counterpart sign. Consequently, there is no need for extension there. This is as to extension and non-extension. 6. As to the object, of those 40 meditation subjects, 22 have counterpart signs as object, that is to say, the 10 kachinas, 10 kinds of foulness, mindfulness breathing, and mindfulness occupied with body. The rest do not have counterpart signs as object. Then 12 have states consisting of individual essences as object, that is to say, 8 of the 10 recollection, except mindfulness of breathing and mindfulness occupied with the body, the perception of repulsiveness in nutriment, the defining of the 4 elements, the base consisting of boundless consciousness, and the base consisting of neither perception nor non-perception, and 22 have counterpart signs as object. That is to say, the 10 kachinas, 10 kinds of foulness, the mindfulness breathing, and mindfulness occupied with the body, while the remaining 6 have not so classifiable object. Then 8 have mobile object in the early stage, though the counterpart is stationary, that is to say, of the festering, the bleeding, the worm-infested, mindfulness breathing, the water kashina, the fire kashina, the air kashina, and the case of the light kashina, thus the object consisting of circle, sunlight, etc. The rest have immobile object. This is as to the object. Number 7, as to plane. Here the 12, namely the 10 kinds of foulness and mindfulness occupied with body and perception of repulsiveness in nutriment do not occur among deities. These 12 and mindfulness breathing do not occur in Brahma world. But the none except the 4 immaterial say occur in the immaterial becoming. All occur among human beings. This is as to the plane or realms. Number 8, as to apprehending. Here the exposition should be understood according to sight, touch, and hearsay. Herein, these 19, that is to say, 9 kashina, omitting the air kashina, and 10 kinds of foulness, must be apprehended by sight. The meaning is that in the early stage, their sign must be apprehended by constantly looking with the eyes. In the case of mindfulness occupied with the body, the 5 parts ending with skin must be apprehended by sight, and the rest by hearsay. So its object must be apprehended by sight and hearsay. Mindfulness breathing must be apprehended by touch, the air kashina by sight and touch, the remaining 18 by hearsay. The divine abiding of equanimity and the 4 immaterial states are not apprehended by a beginner, but the remaining 35 are. This is as to apprehending. 9. As to condition. Of these meditation subjects, 9 kachinas, omitting the space kashina, are conditioned for the immaterial state. Then 10 kachinas are conditioned for the kinds of direct knowledge. 3 divine abidings conditioned for the 4th divine abiding. Each lower immaterial states is a condition for each higher state. The base consisting of neither perception nor non-perception is a condition for the attainment of cessation. All are conditioned for living in bliss, for insight, and the fortunate kinds of becoming. This is as to condition. 10. As to the suitability of temperament. Here the exposition should be understood according to what is suitable to the temperament. That is to say, firstly, the 10 kinds of foulness and mindfulness occupied with the body are 11 meditation subjects suitable for one of greedy temperament. The 4 divine abidings and 4 color kasinas are 8 suitable for one hating temperament. Mindfulness of breathing is one recollection as a meditation subject suitable for one of deluded temperament and for one of speculative temperament. The first 6 recollections are suitable for one of faith temperament. Mindfulness of death, recollection of peace, and defining of 4 elements, the 4 perceptions of repulsiveness in nutriment are suitable for one of intelligent temperament. The remaining kasinas and immaterial states are suitable for all kinds of temperament, and any one of the kasina should be limited for one of speculative temperament and measureless for one of deluded temperament. This is how the exposition should be understood here as to suitability to temperament. 122. All this has been stated in a form of direct opposition and complete suitability. But there is actually no profitable development that does not suppress greed, etc., and help faith, and so on. And this is said in the Meghiya Sutta. One should, in addition, develop these 4 things. Foulness should be developed for the purpose of abandoning greed. Loving kindness should be developed for the purpose of abandoning ill will. Mindfulness of breathing should be developed for the purpose of cutting off applied thought. Perception of impermanence should be cultivated for the purpose of eliminating conceit. I am. Also, in the Rahula Sutra, in the passage beginning develop loving kindness Rahula, 7 meditation subjects are given for a single temperament. For instead of insisting on a mere letter, the intention should be sought in each instance. This is the explanatory exposition of the meditation subject referred to by the words, and he should apprehend. 123. Now, the words and he should apprehend are illustrated as follows. After approaching the good friend of the kind described in the explanation in the words, then approach the good friend, the giver of meditation subject. The meditator should dedicate himself to the Blessed One, the Enlightened One, or to a teacher, and he should ask for the meditation subject with a sincere inclination of the heart and sincere resolution. Herein, he should dedicate himself to the Blessed One, the Enlightened One, in this way. Blessed One, I relinquish this my person to you. For without having thus dedicated himself, when living in a remote abode, he might be unable to stand fast if a frightening object made its appearance, and he might return to a village abode, become associated with laymen, take up improper search, and come to ruin. But when he has dedicated himself in this way, no fear arises in him. If a frightening object makes its appearance, in fact, only joy arises in him, and as he reflects, have you not wisely already dedicated yourself to the Enlightened One? 125. Suppose a man had a fine piece of kashi cloth. He would feel grief if it were eaten by rats or moth, but if he gave it to a bhikshu needing our robes, he would feel only joy, joy if he saw the bhikkhu tearing it up to make his patch cloth. And so it is with this. 126. When he dedicates himself to a teacher, he should say, I relinquish this my person to you, Venerable Sir. For one who has not dedicated his person thus becomes unresponsive to correction, hard to speak to, and unamenable to advice, or he goes where he likes without asking the teacher. Consequently, the teacher does not help him with either material things or Dhamma, and he does not train him in the cryptic books. Failing to get these 2 kinds of help, he finds no footing in the dispensation, and he soon comes down to misconducting himself or to the lay state. But if he has dedicated his person, he is not unresponsive to correction, does not go about as he likes, is easy to speak to, and lives only in dependence on the teacher, he gets the twofold help with the teacher, he attains growth, increase, and foulness in the dispensation, like the elder Chula Pindapatika Tissa's pupil. 3 bhikshus came to the elder, it seems. One of them said, Venerable Sir, I am ready to fall from a cliff, the height of 100 men, if it is said to be to your advantage. The second one said, Venerable Sir, I am ready to grind away my body from the heels up without remainder on a flat stone. It is said to be if it is said to be to your advantage. The third said, Venerable Sir, I am ready to die by stopping breathing if it's said to be to your advantage. Observing these bhikshus are certainly capable of progress, the elder expounded a meditation subject to them. Following his advice, these three attain arhatship. There is the benefit of self-dedication. Hence, it was said above, dedicating himself to the Blessed One, the Enlightened One, or to our teacher. With a sincere inclination of the heart and with sincere resolution, the meditator's inclination should be sincere in 6 modes, beginning with a non-greed. For it is one of such a sincere inclination he arrives at one of the 3 kinds of enlightenment, according as it is. 6 kinds of inclination lead to the maturing of enlightenment of the bodhisattva. With the inclination to non-greed, bodhisattvas see the fault in greed. But the inclination to non-hate, bodhisattvas see the fault in hate. But with the inclination to non-delusion, bodhisattvas see the fault in delusion. With the inclination to renunciation, bodhisattvas see the fault in the house life. With the inclination to seclusion, bodhisattvas see the fault in society. With the inclination to relinquishment, bodhisattvas see the fault in kinds of becoming and destiny. For stream enterers, once returners, non-returners, those with the cankers destroyed, Pratyeka Buddha, the fully enlightened one, whether past, future, or present, all arrive at the distinction peculiar to each by means of the same 6 modes. That is why he should have sincerity of inclination in all these 6 modes. 129. He should be wholeheartedly resolved on that. The meaning is that he should be resolved upon concentration, respect concentration, inclined to concentration, and be resolved upon nibbana, respect nibbana, and inclined to nibbana. When with sincerity of inclination and wholehearted resolution in this way, he asks for a meditation subject, then a teacher who has acquired the penetration of minds can know his temperament by surveying his mental conduct. And a teacher who has not can know it by putting such questions to him as, what is your temperament? Or what states are usually present in you? Or do you like breathing? Do you like bringing to mind? Or what meditation subject does your mind favor? When he knows, he can expound a meditation subject suitable to that temperament. And doing so, he can expound it in 3 ways. It can be given to one who has already learned the meditation subject by having him recite it 1 or 2 sessions. It can be expounded to one who lives in the same place each time he comes, and to one who wants to learn it and then he goes elsewhere. It can be expounded in such a manner that it neither too brief nor too long. 131. Herein, when firstly he is explaining the earth's kasina, there are 9 aspects that he should explain. They are the 4 folds of the kasina, the making of the kasina, a method of development for one who has made it, 2 kinds of sign, 2 kinds of concentration, 7 kinds of suitable and unsuitable, the 10 kinds of skill in absorption, the evenness of energy, and the direction for absorption. In the case of the other meditation subject, each should be expounded in the way appropriate to it. All this will be made clear in the direction of development. But when the meditation subject is being expounded in this way, the meditator must apprehend the sign as he listens. Apprehend the signs means that he must connect each aspect. Thus, this is the preceding clause, this is the subsequent clause, this is its meaning, this is its intention, this is the simile, When he listens attentively, apprehending the sign in this way, his meditation subject is well apprehended. Then, and because of that, he successfully attains distinction, but not otherwise. This clarifies the meaning of the words, and he must apprehend. At this point, the clause approach the good friend, the giver of meditation subject, and he should apprehend from among the 40 meditation subjects one that suits his temperament, have been expounded in detail in all their aspects. The third chapter, called Description of Taking Meditation Subject, in the treatise of the development of concentration in the path of purification, Vishuddhimagga, composed for the purpose of gladdening good people. So that concludes the chapter 3. Now we move to chapter 4, that is the concentration of concentration. Description of the actual concentration in detail. First is earth kashina. Now was said earlier, after that he should avoid a monastery unfavorable to the development of concentration, and go to live in one that is favorable. In the first place, one who finds it convenient to live with the teacher in the same monastery can live there while he is making certain of the meditation subject. If it is inconvenient there, he can live in another monastery, a suitable one, a quarter or a half or even a whole league distance. In that case, when he finds he is in doubt about or has forgotten some passage in the meditation subject, then he should do the duties of a monastery in good time and set out afterwards, going for alms on the way and arriving at teacher's dwelling place after his meal. He should make certain about meditation subject that day in the teacher's presence. Next day, after paying homage to the teacher, he should go for alms on his way back, and so he can return to his own dwelling place without fatigue. But one who finds no convenient place within, even a league, should clarify all difficulties about the meditation subject and make quite sure it has been properly attended to. Then he can even go far and avoid a monastery unfavorable to development of concentration, live in one that is favorable. Now, having said this, now it will list 18 faults of a monastery. 2. Herein, one that is unfavorable has one of the 18 faults. These are largeness, newness, dilapidatedness, a nearby road, a pond, edible leaves, flowers, fruits, famousness, the nearby city, nearby timber trees, nearby arable fields, presence of incompatible persons, a nearby port or entry, nearness to the border countries, nearness to the frontier of kingdom, unsuitability, lack of good friends. One with any of these faults is not favorable. He should not live there. Why? First, people with varying aims collect in a large monastery. They conflict with each other and so neglect the duties. The environment, tree, terrace, etc. remain unswept. The water of drinking and washing is not set out. So if he thinks, I shall go to the alms resort village for alms and take his bowl and robe and sets out, perhaps he sees that the duties have not been done, or that a drinking water pot is empty, and so the duty has to be done by him unexpectedly. Drinking water must be maintained. By not doing it, he would commit a wrongdoing in the breach of a duty. But if he does it, he loses time. He arrives too late at the village and gets nothing because all almsgiving is finished. Also, when he goes into retreat, he is distracted by the loud noises of novices and young bhikshus and by acts of community being carried out. However, he can live in a large monastery where all the duties are done and where there are none of the other disturbances. 2. In a new monastery. In the new monastery, there's much new building activities. People criticize someone who takes no part in it, but he can live in such a monastery where the bhikshu say, let the venerable one do the ascetic duties as much as he likes. We shall see to the building work. 3. In a dilapidated monastery, there is such that needs repair. People criticize someone who does not see about the repairing of at least his own lodging. When he sees to the repairs, his meditation subject suffers. 4. In a monastery with a nearby road, by a road street, visitors keep arriving at night and day. He has to give up his own lodging to those who come late, and he has to go and live at the root of a tree or on top of a rock. And next day it is the same, so there is no opportunity to practice his meditation subject, but he can live in one where there is no such disturbance by visitors. 5. A pond is a rock pool. Number of people come there for drinking water. Pupils of city-dwelling elders supported by royal family come to do dyeing work. As when they ask for vessels, wood, tubs, etc., they must be shown where things are. So he is kept all the time on the alert. 6. If he goes with his meditation subject to sit by where there are many sorts of edible leaves, then women, vegetable gatherers, singing as they pick leaves nearby, engender his meditation subject by disturbing it with sounds of the opposite sex. 7. And where there are many sorts of flowering shrubs and in bloom, there is the same danger too. Where there are many sorts of fruits such as mangoes, rose apples, and jackfruits, people who want fruits come and ask for them. They get angry if he does not give them any, or they take them by force. When walking in a monastery in the evening, he sees them and asks, why do you do so? Lay followers, they abuse him as they please and even try to evict him. When he lives in a monastery that is famous and renowned in the world, like Dakshinagiri or Hathichuchi or Chetiyagiri or Chitalapabata, there are always people coming who want to pay homage to him, supposing he is an arhat with inconvenience him. But if suits him, he can live there at night and go elsewhere by day. 10. If one with a nearby city, objects of the opposite sex come into focus, women water pot carriers go and by bumping into him with their jars and giving no room to pass. Also important people spread out carpets in the middle of the monastery and sit down. 11. One with the nearby timber trees, where there are timber trees and osiers, useful for making framework inconvenient because of the wood gatherers there, like the gatherers of branches and fruits already mentioned. If there are trees in a monastery, people come and cut them down and build houses with. When he has come out of his meditation room in the evening and in the walking up and down in the monastery, if he sees them and asks, why do you do so, lay followers? They abuse him as they please and even try to evict him. 12. People make use of one with nearby arable fields, quite surrounded by fields. They make threshing floor in the middle of the monastery itself. They fresh corn there and dry it with the forecourts and cause great inconvenience. And where there is extensive property belonging to the community, the monastery attendants impound cattle belonging to families and deny the water supply to their crops. Then people bring an ear of paddy or show it to the community, saying, "Look at your monastery attendant, work. For one reason or another, he has to go to the portals of the king or the king's ministers. This matter of property belonging to the community is included by a monastery that is near arable fields." 13. Presence of incompatible persons. Where there are bhikshus living who are incompatible and mutually hostile, when they clash and it is protested. "Venerable Sir, do not do so," they explain. "We no longer count now that this refuse reg vera has come." 14. One with nearby water port of entry or land port of entry is made inconvenient by people constantly arriving respectively by ship or caravan and crowding round, asking for space or drinking water or salt. Number 15. In the case of one near the border countries, people have no trust in the Buddha, etc. there. 16. In one near the frontiers of a kingdom, there is fear of kings. For perhaps one king attacks the place, thinking he does not submit to my rule, and the others does likewise, thinking it does not submit to my rule. A bhikshu lives there when it is conquered by one king and when it is conquered by another. Then they suspect him of spying and they bring about his undoing. 17. Unsuitability is that too due to the risk of encountering visible data, etc., of the opposite sex, or as object, or the haunting by non-human beings. Here is a story. An elder lived in a forest, it seems. Then an ogress stood in the door of his leaf hut and sang. The elder came out and stood in the door. She went to the end of the walk and sang. The elder went in the end of the walk. She stood in a chasm 100 fathoms deep and sang. The elder recoiled. Then she suddenly grabbed him, saying, "Venerable sir, it is not just one or two of likes of you I have eaten." 18. Lack of good friends. Where it is not possible to find a good friend as a teacher or an equivalent of a teacher or a preceptor or an equivalent of a preceptor, the lack of good friends, there is a serious fault. The one that has any of these 18 faults should be understood as unfavorable. And this is said in the commentary. A large abode, a new abode, one tumbling down, one near a road, one with a pond, or leaves, or flowers, or fruits, or one that people seek, in cities among timber fields where people quarrel, in a port, in border roads or frontiers, unsuitableness, and no good friend. These are the 18 instances the wise man needs to recognize and give him full of wide berth as any footpath haunted road. 19. The 5 factors of a resting place. So that talks about 18 inappropriate places for meditation. Now it talks about 5 factors of a resting place. One that has the 5 factors beginning with not too far from and not too near to the alms resort is called favorable. For this is said by the Buddha, the Blessed One. And how has our lodging 5 factors, bhikshu? Here, bhikshus. 1. A lodging is not too far, not too near, and has a path for going and coming. 2. It is little frequented by day and little sound and few noises by night. 3. There's little contact with gadflies, flies, wind, burning, sun, and creeping things. 4. One who lives in that lodging easily obtains robes, alms, food, lodging, and the requisites of a medicine as cure for the sick. 5. In that lodging, there are elder bhikkhus living who are learned, versed in the scriptures, observers of the Dharma, observers of the Vinaya, observers of the codes, and when from time to time one asks them questions, how is it venerable, what is the meaning of these, then those venerable ones reveal the unrevealed, explain the unexplained, remove doubts about the many things that false doubt. This bhikshu is how a lodging has 5 factors. These are the details for the clause. After that, he should avoid a monastery unfavorable to the development of concentration and go to live one that is favorable. Now, the lesser impediment, 20. Then he should sever the lesser impediments. One living in such a favorable monastery should sever any minor impediment that he may still have, that is to say, long head hair, nails, body hair should be cut, mending and patching of all robes should be done, or that soil should be dyed. If there is a stain on the bowl should be baked. The bed, the chair, etc. should be cleaned. These are the details of the clause. Then he should sever the lesser impediments. Now the detailed instructions for development, 21. Now with the clause and not overlook any of the direction for development, the time has come for the detailed exposition of all meditation subjects, starting with the earth kachina. First, earth kachina, 123. When a bhikshu has thus severed the lesser impediments, then on his return from his alms round, after his meal, and after he has got rid of drowsiness due to the meal, he should sit down comfortably in a secluded place and apprehend a sign in earth that is either made up or not made up. For this is said, once one who is learning the earth kashina apprehends the sign in earth that is either made up or not made up, that is bounded, not unbounded, limited, not unlimited, with the periphery and not without a periphery, circumscribed, not uncircumscribed, either the size of a bushel or size of a saucer. He sees that sign is well apprehended, well attended to, well defined. Having done that, and seeing its advantage, and perceiving it as a treasure, building up respect for it, making it dear to him, he anchors his mind to that object, thinking, surely in this way I shall be freed from aging and death. Secluded from sense desire, he enters upon and dwells in first jhana. Herein, when in a previous becoming a man has gone forth into homelessness in the dispensation or outside with the rishis, going forth, and has already produced the jhana, tetrad or pentad on the earth kachina, and so he has such merit and the support of past practice jhana as well, then the sign arises in him on earth that is not made up, that is to say, on a plowed area or on a threshing floor, as in the elder Malaka's case. It seems that while that venerable was looking at a plowed area, the sign arose in him, the size of that area. He extended it in attend jhana pentad. Then, by establishing sight with the jhana, so as the basis for it, he attained arhatship. Making an earth kashina. But when a man has had no such previous practice, he should make a kashina, guarding against the 4 faults of a kashina, and not overlooking any of the direction for the meditation subject learned from the elder. Now, the 4 faults of the kashina, earth kashina, are due to the intrusion of blue, yellow, red, and white. Instead of using clay of such colors, he should make the kashina of clay like that of the stream of Ganges, which is color of the dawn. And he should make it not not in the middle of the monastery, in a place where novices, etc., about, but on the confines of the monastery, in a screened place, either under an overhanging rock or in a leaf hut. He can make it portable or as a fixture. Of these, the portable one should be made by tying rags and leather or matting onto four sticks and smearing thereon a disc of a size already mentioned, using clay picked clean of grass, roots, gravel, and sand, and well kneaded. At the time of the preliminary work, it should be laid on the ground and looked at. A fixture should be made by knocking stake into the ground in the form of a lotus callus, lacing them over the creepers. If the clay is insufficient, then other clay should be put underneath, and the disc of a span and 4 fingers across made on top of that with the quite pure dawn-colored clay. For it was with reference only to measurement that was said about either the size of bushel or the size of a saucer. But that is bounded, not unbounded, was said to show its delimitedness. So, having thus made it delimited and of the size prescribed, he should scrape it down with a stone trowel, a wooden trowel, turns it in a bad color, so it should not be employed, and make it even as surface of the drum. Then he should sweep the place out and have a bath. On his return, he should seat himself on a well-covered chair with legs of span and 4 fingers high, prepared in a place that is 2.5 cubits. That is 2.5 times elbow to a fingertip from the Kashina disc. And the Kashina does not appear plainly to him as he sits further off than that, and if he sits nearer than that, folds in the Kashina appear. If he sits higher up, he has to look at it with his neck bent, and if he hits it lower down, his knees act. 27. The starting contemplation. So after sitting himself in a way stated, he should review the danger in sense desires. In the way beginning, sense desire gives little enjoyment and arouse a longing for the escape from sense desires. For the renunciation that is the means to the surmounting of all suffering, he should next arouse joy of happiness by recollecting the special qualities of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, then or by thinking, now this is the way of renunciation entered upon by all Buddhas, Pratyeka Buddhas, and noble disciples, and then eagerness by thinking, in this way I shall surely come to know the taste of the bliss of seclusion. After that, he should open his eyes moderately, apprehend the sign, and so proceed to develop it. If he opens his eyes too wide, they get fatigued, and the disc becomes too obvious, which prevents the sign of becoming apparent to him. If he opens them too little, the disc is not obvious enough. His mind becomes drowsy, which also prevents the sign of becoming apparent to him. So he should develop it by apprehending the sign, nimitta, keeping his eyes open moderately as if he were seeing the reflection of his face, the mukha nimitta, on the surface of the looking glass. The color should not be reviewed, the characteristics should not be given attention, but rather, while not ignoring the color, the attention should be given by setting the mind on the name, the concept, as the most outstanding mental datum, relegating the color in the position of a property of its physical support. That conceptual state can be called by any of the likes among the names of the earth, such as earth, the great one, or friendly one, or ground, the provider of wealth, the bearer of wealth, etc., whichever suits his mind of perception. Still, earth is also a name that is obvious, so it can be developed with the obvious one by saying earth, earth. He should be adverted to know with open eyes, now with eyes shut, and he should go on developing it in this way 100 times, 1,000 times, even more than that, until learning sign arises. While he is developing it in this way, he comes into focus as he adverts his eyes shut exactly as it does with his eyes open, then the learning sign is said to have been produced. After its production, he should no longer sit in that place. He should return to his own quarter and go on developing the sitting there. But in order to avoid the delay of the foot washing, a pair of single-soled sandals and a walking stick are desirable. Then, if a new concentration vanishes through some unsuitable encounter, he can put his sandals and take his walking stick and go back to the place to apprehend the sign there. When he returns, he should sit himself comfortably and develop it by reiterated reaction to it and by striking at it with thought and applied thought. The counterpart sign, 31. As he goes on, as he does so, the hindrances eventually become suppressed and defilements subside, and mind become concentrated with excess concentration, and the counterpart sign arises. The difference between the earlier learning sign and the counterpart sign is this. In the learning sign, any fault in the kasina is apparent, but the counterpart sign appears as if breaking out from the learning sign and 100 times, 1,000 times more purified, looking glass disc drawn from its case, like a mother of pearl dish well washed, like the moon's disc coming out from behind the cloud, like cranes against a thunder cloud. But it has neither color nor shape, for if it had, it would be cognizable by the eye, grows susceptible of comprehension by insight, and stamped with the three characteristics. But it is not like that, for it is born only of perception in one who has obtained concentration, being a mere mode of appearance. But as soon as it arises, the hindrances are quite suppressed, defilements subside, and mind becomes concentrated to access concentration. The two kinds of concentration, 32. Now, concentration is of two kinds. That is to say, excess concentration and absorption concentration. The mind becomes concentrated in two ways. That is, on the plane of success and the plane of obtainment. Herein, the mind becomes concentrated on the plane of access by abandonment of the hindrances, and on the plane of obtainment by the manifestation of jhanas factors. The difference between two kinds of concentration is this. The factors are not strong in access. It is because they are not strong that when access has arisen, the mind now makes the sign or its object and now re-enters the life continuum, just as when a young child is lifted up and stood on its feet, it repeatedly falls down on the ground. But the factors are strong in absorption. It is because they are strong that when absorption concentration has arisen, the mind, having once interrupted the flow of the life concentration, carries on with a stream of profitable impulsion for a whole night and a whole day, just as a healthy man, after rising from his seat, could stand for a whole day. So, guarding the sign, 34. The arousing of the counterpart sign, which arises together with excess concentration, is very difficult. Therefore, if he is able to arrive at absorption in that same session by extending a sign, it is good. If not, then he must guard the sign diligently as if it were an embryo of a wheel-turning monarch. So, guard the sign, no countercourse, and what is gained will not be lost. Who fails to have these guard maintained will lose each time when he has gained. Herein, the way of guarding is this. 1. Abode. 2. Resort. 3. Speech. 4. And person. 5. The food. 6. The climate. 7. The posture. And the posture. Eschew these seven different kinds whenever found unsuitable, but cultivate the suitable. For one, perchance to so doing finds he need not wait long until absorption shall his wish fulfill. 36. Herein an abode is suitable if he lives in it. The unarisen sign does not arise in him, or is lost when it arises, and where an unestablished mindfulness fails to become established, and the concentrated mind concentrated. That is suitable in which the sign arises and become unconfirmed, in which mindfulness become established and the mind concentrated, and the elder Padaniyatissa, resident at the Naga Pavata. So if a monastery has many abodes, he can try them one by one, living in each for 3 days, and stay on where his mind becomes ununified. For it was due to suitability of abode that 500 bhikshus reached arhatship while still living in the lesser Naga cave, and in Tammapana Island, Sri Lanka, after apprehending their meditation subject there. But there is no counting the stream enterer who have reached arhatship there after reaching the noble plane elsewhere. So in the monastery, Chitta Pabata and others too. The alms resort, village lying in the north or south of the lodging, not too far within 1 kosha and a half, and where alms food is easily obtainable, is suitable. The opposite kind is unsuitable. Speech. That included in the 32 kinds of aimless talk is unsuitable, for it leads to the disappearance of the sign. But talk based on 10 examples of talk is suitable, though even that should be discussed with moderation. The person. Number 4. One not given to aimless talk, one who has special qualities of virtue, etc., by acquaintanceship with whom the unconcentrated mind becomes concentrated, or the concentrated mind more so is suitable. One who is such concentrated with his body, who is addicted to aimless talk, is unsuitable, for he only creates disturbance like muddy water added to clear water. And it was owing to one such as that the attainments of young bhikshu who lived at Kottapabata vanished, not to mention the sign. Number 5, the food. Sweet food suits one, sour food another. 6, climate. Cool climate suits one, the warm one another. So when he finds that by using certain food or by living in a certain climate he is comfortable, or his unconcentrated mind become concentrated and his concentrated mind more so, then that food, that climate is suitable. Any food or climate is unsuitable. 7, postures. Walking suits one, standing or sitting or lying down another. So he should try them, like the abode, for 3 days each, and that posture is suitable in which he has unconcentrated the mind, become concentrated, for his concentrated mind more so, and the other should be understood as unsuitable. So he should avoid the 7 unsuitable kinds and cultivate the suitable. For when he practices in this way assiduously, cultivating the sign, then he need not wait too long until absorption shall his wish fulfill. So thank you. We'll stop there, everyone. So that was a really good part, importance of subject and various causes and conditions one should learn to seek favorability to do the meditation. So we'll stop there. So we finish at paragraph 41 of the chapter 4. So we do the dedication. Thank you very much, everyone. Erenda Mahayana Jija Kareva Mereda Meobe Begas and Lavaza Choedak Mahayana Jija Kareja Manjushin Ode Azama Trabada Lava Follow oh, there's a Medezalam Bodhijeda Teba Vahedanaya where has been Bomeding really with the generation. Thank you.